So we're gonna sit. I like to sit on a couple of blocks. You can sit on a chair. You can straddle a bolster. You can sit however you want. The important thing is that you've got your back straight. So if that means sitting on a chair, it's much better because we're going to be doing some shoulder stretches. We're going to be doing some breathing. We're not going to be doing anything with our legs at this point. So whatever means that you can sit comfortably, you want your spine in a natural curve. So as I sit here, I'm going to take my buttocks back a little bit. My pubic bone's rolling gently down. So I've got a little curve in the lower back, little curve in my neck, and I'm able to kind of really drop my pelvis down into the blocks and sit nice and tall. So let's just broaden through the chest, take the hands down onto the thighs, and just lower your gaze or close your eyes if you feel comfortable enough to, feeling like you've landed, feeling that this, as you come here and you sit on your mat, you close your eyes and you bring your attention to your breath. This is coming home. You are home. So welcoming home to yourself, welcome to your practice. Please feel free to take what you need from the practice, do what you can, leave what you can't, and don't worry about it. Every day is different. And obviously not being able to see you, I can't maybe offer you things in the moment that might make it better, but just know that you might be able to offer yourself some things in the moment to make it better. Or you might feel like, okay, I'm not going to do this. Maybe next time if I save the video or do it again, I'll try that another day. So just know that anything's allowed. And obviously when you're in your own room, I can't see if you're just spending the whole time lying down, and I would totally salute you if you were doing that. So welcoming yourself home. Let's bring our attention to the breath and gently watch without changing anything. Just noticing if it's possible to breathe through the nose with the mouth closed, or if that's not going to be possible today, that's fine. Just notice that. We're aiming towards breathing through the nose, but it's not always possible. And sometimes you might be able to breathe in through the nose and have to breathe out through the mouth, and that's also fine. And sometimes you just have to breathe through the mouth because the nose is just blocked. But however you're breathing now, notice, watch, have a look. Is the in-breath as long as the out-breath? Is the out-breath longer than the in-breath? Is the in-breath longer than the out-breath? Is it quite shallow? Are you really hardly breathing? Are you breathing really slowly, really fast? Let's see. And often when we just notice, then change comes naturally. We don't have to force change. You might find that just noticing the breath, you are inspired to change it in some way, to breathe deeper, to kind of experiment with the ends of the breath, the ends of the in-breath, the end of the out-breath. You might be inspired to kind of explore how it feels to really fill, and how that changes your body, how that changes your posture. And then you might want to explore how it feels to hold all of that breath in at the top of the in-breath. Maybe it feels great, maybe it feels scary. And then you might want to explore how it feels to release all the breath. Is there more breath to go? Were you holding on to some more breath? And then it might be nice to explore how it feels to have no breath for a pause. It might be nice, it might be, again, challenging, anxiety-provoking, blissful, who knows? Have a look. And then do what you feel. Nice. And if you want to have a spontaneous sigh, a yawn, or a deep breath, go ahead. Okay, so we're going to do some 3D breathing. So we're going to take it in different stages. The first stage is side to side breathing. The second stage is front to back breathing. And the third stage is top to bottom breathing. I want you to imagine your lungs like this kind of balloon that is expanding and contracting in every single direction every time you breathe in and breathe out. So we'll take it in stages so you can really kind of dig into what's going on. So you can do this with a gentle ujjayi breath if you want to, a gentle constriction of the throat, nothing major, no really loud Darth Vader, but just to let you observe, let you slow the breath down so you can focus on sensations. We'll start with side to side breathing. So as you breathe in, I want you to imagine and really feel into the lungs and the rib cage expanding out to the sides, like the ribs want to push into the upper arms. And as you breathe out, I want you to explore the sensations as the rib cage just comes back to its normal point, as if there's a point right in the center of the heart space, the center of the lungs, that you're moving out and in to every time you breathe. So breathing in side to side expansion of the lungs, breathing out, coming back to that center point. And seeing if you can get a sense of the muscles in between each of the ribs kind of opening and pushing out to the sides. Space between the ribs laterally, so space between them up to the armpit, down to the hip, and also space to really push those ribs out to the upper arms. Very nice. One more like that. Very good. Now let that go. And now we're going to explore front to back breathing. So as we breathe in, it's quite simple to feel the chest expanding forward, the sternum moves forward, but also you want to imagine that you've got like a shark's fin in between your shoulder blades, that part of the spine. And as you breathe in, it actually pushes back. So often when we breathe in really deeply, we actually squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. But this time I want you to imagine that there's space. You're actually widening across the shoulder blade area. So try that. So front to back, you're pushing forward and backwards just as much as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just practice coming back to that still tiny pinpoint right in the center of the lungs. Very gentle ujjayi, nothing major, but just enough so that you can slow the breath enough to notice. Maybe hearing a very soft hum. And you might notice that one bit is really hard to notice, one bit's really easy to notice, and this is all really good data, good information to find out how you're breathing. Very good, and let that go. And then the last one is top to bottom breathing. So as you breathe in, the lungs fill up, and you can often feel the collarbones lift slightly and separate. But also as you breathe, your diaphragm muscle, which is tucked underneath the rib cage, it flattens down. Also the pelvic floor flattens down as you breathe in. This gives a nice massage to all the organs. And as you breathe out, these two diaphragms, they just kind of pop back up and the collarbones just sink back into their natural place. So see if you can feel that top to bottom expansion of the breath on the inhale. And again, with the exhale, gently bring back to that tiny still center point. Very nice. Now we're going to put all three together. Don't worry if you have to kind of separate it, keep separating it, or you can choose the one that was most difficult, or if that's too frustrating, do the one that you found most pleasurable and easy. We're going to try and put them together. So this time for about 4 or 5 breaths, as you breathe in, we're going to feel the expansion side to side, front to back, and top to bottom, all at the same time. And as you breathe out, all of those directions coming back to that still tiny point right in the center of the lungs. Have a go. And then when you've finished exhaling, let all that go. Just take a few breaths naturally without controlling. Go back to being the observer, the witness of the breath, watching it. How is it now? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it slow? Is it fast? It's fine however it is. And then when you're ready, just gently drop your chin down towards your chest a little bit. Tuck the chin in towards the throat, broaden through the collarbones, draw the shoulder heads, the tops of the arm bones back. And just feel a gentle stretch from the tops of the shoulders down towards the backs of the ears. So rather than kind of collapsing my chest and bringing my chin all the way to the chest, I'm just giving a little bit of traction to the back of the neck, and by drawing the shoulders back, maybe dropping them down a little bit, I can feel a gentle tug on those muscles that hold my head up. And now I'm going to keep my chin down and rock my head from side to side. So you can do a gentle semicircle, or you can literally just turn your head from side to side with the chin down. And you can keep the breathing nice and natural. You can even connect the breath to the movement. So maybe you breathe in one side, breathe out the other side, or you could breathe out as you turn to the side, breathe in to center. See what works for you. Or you could just think, I'll just breathe and I'll just move. This is all too much for Sunday morning. And you're just feeling a gentle tug on one side of the back of the neck, the top of the shoulder, and the other. Finish with the chin down, and as you inhale, send to the head. And as you exhale, drop one ear down to one shoulder and just hang. Let the shoulder hang level with the hips. So you're not leaning over and you're not lifting the shoulder up to the ears. You're just hanging, and it doesn't matter how far down you're going. One side of the neck is short and one side of the neck is long. And now I've turned my chin towards my ear towards my shoulder. I'm now going to turn my chin towards my shoulder. And then I'm going to bring my face back to center. And then as I inhale, I'm going to center the head. And as I exhale, I'm going to go to the other side. So ear coming down towards the shoulder. It won't go down so far now because you stretched out the other side. So have a few breaths. Let it find its place. Relax the shoulders and hips level. My ears down to my shoulder, and now I'm going to turn my chin down towards my shoulder. Then I'm going to turn my face back towards you guys. And then as I inhale, I'm going to center the head. Now as I exhale, I'll drop my chin down a little bit again, just to balance out both sides. And as I inhale, I'll bring my head back to center. And this time as I exhale, I'm going to turn my chin towards my shoulder. So I'm literally keeping my chin level with the floor, turning my chin towards my shoulder. Doesn't matter how far I go. I'm going to keep bringing the opposite shoulder back, so I'm not actually turning the ribs. Doesn't matter how far. And then still here, I'm going to drop my chin towards my collarbone. Then I'm going to bring my chin level with the floor again. And as I inhale, I'm going to center the head. And then I'll go the other side. Exhale to turn. And again, make sure the chest is open. Don't compensate with the rib cage. Just know where to go. No one cares how far you can turn your head. And then still with my head to the side, I'm going to drop my chin down towards my collarbone. Looking at my leg. Then I'm going to bring the chin back level with the floor. And as I inhale, I'm going to center the head. Very nice. Now shrug the shoulders. If you need to change position with your legs, change position. You can always go to straddling the blocks, straddling the bolster, or come up onto a chair. So let's start with some shoulder stretches. So I thought we'd do some myofascial release for the pecs and the shoulders. So we'll start with some stretches to see where we are. So as you inhale, you're going to take the hands out to the sides, take the backs of the hands back and push them back and start to stretch open between the collarbones. Draw the chin back towards the throat and just feel a stretch across the front of the arms and the front of the chest. Very nice. And then bring the hands back. And now take the backs of the hands up and back. You might have to bend the arms, and that's fine. Take the backs of the arms back. Really push the backs of the hands back. You can also lift the sternum a little bit, and you could also look to the corner of the ceiling and the wall. Keep drawing the chin back though, so it's not all in the neck. You're feeling around the armpit area, maybe the front of the chest, maybe the upper arms. And then from here, stretch up, take hold of an imaginary handle, and then inhale, and as you exhale, draw those elbows down towards the rib cage as if you're kind of really pulling one of those weights in the gym. Inhale, stretch up, spread the fingers, pull down, exhale. And just seeing how close to the rib cage you can get your elbows. Inhale. And then exhale. Very nice. And then press your hands forward. This time I'm going to row. So hold your rows. Take the elbows out to the sides. Level with the shoulders if you can. Squeeze the shoulder blades in towards each other. Okay, and then press forward. And you can connect it with the breath. Maybe inhaling here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And then lastly, take the hands down, palms face back, and all you're going to do is stretch the hands back behind you. I'll come to the side so you can see. You're going to try and keep the angle of the wrists the same, so not taking the hands back or forward. Just try to lift the hands back behind you. Stretching, not really collapsing. Don't take the tops of the arms forward. Keep the arm bones back and just lift up a little bit. Very nice. And then shrug the shoulders. And then you're going to take one of your balls. Lovely. Now I've got a myofascial release ball, which means it's not furry like a tennis ball, which means I can actually push it onto my skin and even wind up the skin. So we're going to do some pec stretches. You might have done these with me before. So we've got to find our collarbones. So find your collarbone. Might as well do some tapping here, free tapping. And you've got your collarbone, it goes from the shoulder and it goes in towards the sternum. And here is the corner between the sternum and the collarbone. So you want to push the ball off that corner. So I'm not pressing into the sternum bone and I'm not pressing into the collarbone, but at that corner, I'm going to drop off the bone. And if you can get skin on skin, press the ball there. Now, if you've got a tennis ball, this won't work, but it's fine. You can still press it. If you've got a myofascial release ball, you can wind it up. And I don't know if you can see, but my actual skin is winding. The theory is I'm holding the superficial fascia layer, the skin layer down, and now I'm going to encourage the muscles to move under the ball. So first of all, I take my arm out to the side and back, and then I'm going to go diagonally, still pressing that ball in, back and forwards, and then I'm going to go up. So you could inhale and exhale, and then I'm going to go diagonal and then out to the side. And you can feel that muscle trying to move underneath. Now I'm going to go an inch out towards my shoulder. Again, I'm underneath the collarbone. I'm going to do all of that again. I'm going to wind it up if I've got a myofascial release. Wind, wind, wind. Out to the side. Diagonal. And up. Woo. Some of these get you more than others. There'll be some that are like, whoa, and some that are like, what's that? What's she going on about? Okay, then come back to the corner and down an inch. So again, I'm off the sternum. I'm an inch below the collarbone, and I'm above the breast tissue. So I'm just kind of still on pec. So I'm again going to wind it up, and I'm going to do the same stretches. I love these. I hope you do too. If you don't worry. Okay, very nice. And just set the ball down, have a breath. Feel like you're breathing into that whole side that you've just done. And see if there's a difference between the two upper chests. And let's do the other one. So we start on that corner, find the sternum, find the collarbone, find the corner where the sternum and the collarbone meet, and then drop off that corner. Place your ball. If it's a tennis ball, press it in. If it's a myofascial release, press and twist. You don't have to do the winding if it's not nice. But if you like it, do it. Out to the side, diagonal, and up. And you'll find that, yeah, there's unexpected treasure buried in these muscles. And then let's go across, out to the shoulder. I'm off the collarbone. I'm still quite near the collarbone. I'm grazing it. I'm not pressing on the bone, otherwise I'm not going to be able to do anything. Connect it with the breath, or just breathe deeply and just enjoy the sensation. If you can, enjoy the sensation. If not, you can enjoy it when it's finished. And then back to the corner and down an inch. So I'm a bit below the collarbone, but I'm still off the sternum. I'm not on breast tissue yet. I'm winding and I'm going out to the side. Diagonal, up, whew, diagonal, and out to the side. Very nice. Bring the ball down, bring the hands back, breathe, and it's like you're filling that space. So the time just after you do these myofascial release is when the fascia is actually sucking in hydration. And if you stop for a moment to observe, you can create these new patterns of awareness that become what you're looking for. So this after effect becomes actually what your body starts going for. Okay, so we've done the pec. Let's do levator scapula. So you're going to need 2 balls and you're going to need a block. And the block will be under your hips when we get there. So have that kind of halfway down your mat. The balls we're going to put in You can get your props out of the way, and we're just gonna find levator scapulae. So you know the shoulder blade is called the scapula. Levator means to lift up, and this muscle kind of is integral for holding your head up, so it gets very, very tight. Now, if you take your hand to the opposite shoulder and your fingers are kind of folding over the back, you'll be on this ridge of bone. Now, this ridge of bone is called the spine of the scapula, and we're gonna trace it. We're gonna keep following that spine. So spine is just a long bone until we get to a point where we fall off. Now, as we fall off, we're digging into quite tight muscles there. So you've got that on both sides. We're going to put both balls in, and you have to kind of remember where that is so that you can put it back. So lie down, feet flat, knees bent. Doesn't really matter, but you're not going to be on the bone, you're going to be off the bone. You're going to poke the balls in, and at this point you're not going to feel much. Well, you might if they're really screaming at you, but you just pop them in, and then you're going to press your feet into the floor, lift your hips up onto the block, and now you've kind of wedged the balls in a little bit more. So if this is quite strong, if it's too strong, you can change position. You're going to be somewhere off the bone, so you're between the spine, between the shoulder blades, and you're right at the top of the shoulder blade where the spine of the scapula is. It doesn't really matter where you are. If you're feeling some sensation, then it's great. If you're feeling any nerve shooting pain, then it's not great, and you move the balls out of the way. Now, the best thing for levator scapulae is to do night fever dancing. And so we take our hand, let's do left side first, up and diagonal, and then down to the opposite hip. Up and diagonal, down to the opposite hip. And what I'm doing now is shearing, because the ball is pressing into that trigger point, and I'm actually forcing the muscle to move underneath the skin. So now the right side. You can sing Night Fever if you want. Night fever, night fever. You don't have to. And you can do both at once if you want. Oh, that's nice. And these are normally they're quite tight points. And then you can hug. Oh, that's nice. So hugging and holding. Now, if any of these are too much, you can just bring the hips down onto the floor, because that will take some of the pressure off. So if you're hugging one way, now hug the other way. Very nice. Take a few breaths. And then push your feet into the floor, lift the bum, take the block out, and then remove the balls one at a time. And then set your shoulder blades down. You can take the feet wide and let the inner knees touch, and just take some breaths. And here again, this is when the fascia is sucking in its hydration. This is where you're setting new patterns for the nervous system. It gives you a chance to notice what's going on. Great. So keep your balls, keep your block, roll onto your side, come up. Your block's going to go under the head eventually for this one, so have it up at the top of the mat. Your balls are going to go together. We're going to be between the shoulder blades. We're going to do rhomboids. Now, this is quite an evil one. Nice evil. So anyway, it's nice to have a blanket over the top. So if you've got really tight shoulders, you might want a thick blanket. If they're medium tight, have a thin blanket. If they don't feel anything, you could just go straight on the balls. So I've got the balls together, and I'm going to try and lie down so that they are kind of level with my armpits, because if they're level with my armpits, they'll probably be between the shoulder blades. And I've got like a leeway of kind of 10 centimeters anyway, where I could target. So I can kind of lean down, and I've reached the balls there, and I can feel that they're between the shoulder blades. So now I can grab my block, have it under my head, and I can roll around. So here I'm not really doing anything except rocking my pelvis forwards and backwards. You could also lift your hips just a touch off the floor, and you can feel you can't do too much rolling because you've got the blanket on, but you are just nudging the balls up and down, and you might find that there's a nice spot where you can just set your hips down and relax. So you can either stay or you can make circles with your arms. So this is a nice circling one where you're moving those rhomboid muscles. The rhomboids move the shoulder blades in and out. So move them close to the spine when you're kind of doing heart openers, and they move them away from the spine when you're doing things like angry cat. So you're just getting the muscle to do its job whilst you're sort of pinning the top layer of skin down, so it kind of makes everything glide a bit more. Here's nice to do the hugging. You might hug and rock from side to side, pressing in one side at a time. You can also have the other arm on top, and then you could wriggle around, find another point that's maybe nice, because there's probably a few around here. Find another spot, and then you can do any of that stuff again, or you can just hold and take some breaths. Do whatever feels good. And then roll over, take the balls away, take the block away, and lie back down. Just for a moment, so that your nervous system can translate that back. Oh, and feel the difference. Feel the breath. Feel the shoulder blades on the floor, feel the neck. So we've done 3 quite key muscle groups that hold us so tightly in the shoulders. And then roll over and come back to seated position. Again, you don't need to be on the floor. You can be on a chair, you can be on your blocks, you can straddle your bolster. So I'm going to get my blocks back, put the balls to one side, and we're going to do those shoulder stretches again to see now how it feels. So get yourself nice and comfy, spine nice and straight, and let's take the arms out to the sides, take the backs of the hands back. Nice. Take the arms up and back. Quite a lot easier for me anyway. I hope that you're feeling this too. Take your weight in the gym and pull down. See how far the elbows come down. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, pull down. One we didn't do before, we can stretch up. Take hold of the left wrist. I'm not mirroring you. Left wrist with the right hand. Stretch the left arm up. Take the right ear to the right upper arm and reach over to the right. Very nice. Stretch up with both hands. Take hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Stretch up. Take the left ear to the left upper arm and reach over. Very nice. And then let's take our hands forward. We're going to do the rowing. So take hold of your row, elbows level with the shoulders, squeezing back. And for me, it feels dramatically different, having cleared away all of that congestion. Very nice. And then taking the hands back, lifting them up. Everything just feels a little bit more easy. So you've just applied your WD-40. Very nice. Give yourselves a shrug. Take the arms out into cactus now. So we're cactusing, we're trying to lift the elbows level with the shoulders, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to take the elbows back, then you're going to take the backs of the hands and the backs of the wrists back, so you're kind of angling back. Then you're going to angle the top of your sternum up, take the chin back towards the throat, and look up towards the corner of the wall and the ceiling. Okay, inhale here, and then exhale. Bring the forearms, the elbows, and the hands together. Now you can cross here, take the arms, or take the backs of the hands, or come to eagle. So if you're in eagle or crossing the arms, just notice which elbow's on the top, because we're going to do 3 this way. Inhale back to cactus. Exhale, crossing the same way, or elbows together, whichever you want. Inhale and exhale. Okay, and then we're going to go back to cactus, and this time we're going to do 3 again. You're going to take either elbows, wrists and hands together, or cross the other elbow round. Backs of the hands touching, palms of the hands touching, hands on the shoulders. Inhale. Just do whatever feels the best. Exhale. Inhale. Last time, same side if you're doing a crossing motion. Inhale. Very nice. And then release. Ooh. Then take the left arm up. I'm not mirroring you. Take the hand down the back and take the right hand and draw the elbow back Release the neck and kind of lift the chest forward a little bit. So you're really stretching the front of the armpit, you're stretching the upper chest, and you're stretching the triceps at the back of that left arm there. Very nice. And do the same with the right arm. Right arm comes up, take the hand down the back. Left hand comes to the front of the elbow, draws it back. Keep the neck soft. Keep lifting the sternum. Back of the arm is stretching, front of the armpit, top of the chest. I mean, that's what's stretching for me. Whatever you're feeling means that that's where your tension is. Tension is fine, by the way. We like it. And then stretch up. Right, last one before we move. Oof. Let's take the left hand behind the head. Elbow out to the side. So the palm of the hand is on the back of the head. Right hand, the back of the hand is just going to go in my lower back. Maybe I'll come to the side to show you this one. Back of the hand is on my lower back. And all I'm going to do is draw both elbows back, and I'm going to press my head into my left palm. Both elbows back, head into the left palm. Good. And then release. Take the right hand to the back of the head. The left back of the hand into the lower back. Both elbows back. Head presses into the palm of the hand. Great. Okay, let's come and do some movement out into the spine. We've released off all of that, well, not all of it, probably some of that shoulder tension. I'm going to have a blanket under my knees because I always like that. You can feel free to have that. I put it about 2/3 down the mat, and I'm going to come onto all fours and just loosen up the spine a little bit in cat and cow. So your angry cat is your exhale, and it's where I'm curling the spine, pushing the belly into my spine, tucking the chin to the chest, tailbone down towards the backs of the knees, pressing the hands into the floor. And my cow, I don't really know why this looks like a cow, but my cow is the open, the back extension. So I'm looking forward, I'm dropping the chest through, the shoulder blades are squeezing back, the belly is free, and the tailbone is pointing out behind me. So just roll through a few of those, exhaling as you curl, inhaling as you extend. Very nice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to thread the needle. So I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to do 3 times. Press my right hand into the floor where it is. Inhale, draw the left arm up and away to the left, so I'm opening. Exhale, I'm going to feed it through. Drop my left shoulder and cheek, but as soon as I inhale, I'm pressing on the right hand, coming back up. So I'm going to do that 3 times before I land. Exhale as I thread through. Press on the right hand. Inhale, come all the way back. And now exhale, and you can go and you can stay. So I'm dropping my left shoulder, I'm dropping my left cheek. I could have a blanket under my head if I wanted. My left palm is up. I'm going to stretch. You can either, right hand can stay on the floor. You can press the fingertips into the floor and ease the right shoulder blade back. Or you can stretch the right hand forward so that you're reaching both arms in 2 directions. Take a breath. Don't worry about what the hips are doing. And try and square the hips, just let them be. Then bring that right hand in front of the face, press on it and bring yourself back up. A little bit of cat and cow, nothing too drastic. Exhaling as you curl, inhaling as you open. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So inhale, I'm going to open out, right hand lifting up. Exhale, I'm going to feed it through. Drop to my shoulder and cheek, but inhaling straight away, pressing on that left hand to come up. Exhaling. Last time, press to come up. It's like a bounce, it's a recoil. This time you can go and settle. Right arms off to the side, right cheeks on the floor. I can either fingertips on the floor of the left hand, ease my left shoulder blade round, or stretch that left arm over. Let the hips be, stretch the hands in both directions. Right palm's turning up, left palm's turning down. Couple of breaths. And bring that left hand back in front of the face, press on it, come up, a little bit of cat and cow. Nothing major, just ironing out. And then come onto the elbows, cat and cow again. So elbows are under the shoulders. Keep pressing the elbows and the forearms and the wrists and the hands into the floor. This time with your inhale, don't look too far up, just look towards the edge of your mat because otherwise you risk doing too much in the neck and we want a bit more opening in the chest. Take the right hand behind the left elbow, stretch the left hand forward, drop the forehead either to the floor, or you can move your forearm to take your forehead. Stretch and breathe, fingertips of the left hand reaching away from the left hip, and then the left armpits bending towards the floor. Then back onto the elbows, a little bit of cat and cow. Then left hand behind the right elbow, right hand reaching forward. Drop your forehead. I have to move my left forearm a little bit to take my head. You can also drop it onto a block. Right fingertips stretching away from the right hip, right armpit bowing towards the earth. Back to elbows, cat and cow. Whew. It's getting hot here in Italy. Now I'm going to take my bottom a little bit towards my heels, a little bit. Then I'm going to bring my elbows slightly closer towards each other, hands together, and I'm going to feed my elbows and reach them forward. Drop my forehead to the floor. And as the weight of my bottom moves down towards my heels, I'm tractioning or stretching that tricep area. Forehead is relaxed, neck's relaxed, but you'll feel that as my bum wants to drop, the elbows are stuck on the sticky mat, and that's just opening out the whole of the upper arm, and you'll probably feel it in the underarms towards the sides of the back. Take a breath there. Very nice. And then come back to cat and cow on your hands and knees. One more. Just to iron out to equalize both sides. Now bring your blocks, if you're using them, either side of you on your mat, just so that we can use them if we want to. So now I'll put them forward so you can see what my hands are doing. My hands are underneath my shoulders. I'm going to tuck my toes under. And I'm going to press my bottom back towards my heels, just to stretch out the bottom of the foot. And now I'm going to press my hands into the floor as if I want them to reach forward. I'm going to draw the shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to broaden through the collarbones. I'm going to keep all of that as I lift my knees off the floor and start to press the hands away from me as I lift my hips up and back. Now you don't have to straighten the legs and you don't have to bring the heels down. Just keep pressing forward and let the head bow down to the floor. Keep pressing down and forward with your hands. Now you can stretch the legs out a little bit, keeping that lovely long spine. You can do it one leg at a time. So maybe one heel is lifted with the knee bent and the other heel is drawing towards the floor with the leg moving a little bit straighter. So you can do it side to side, or you can do both at the same time. So lifting the heels, bending the knees. Keep the heels lifted, straighten the legs. Keep the legs straight, bring the heels down, and keep the heels down and bend the knees. And you can just kind of flow between those positions, or just do whatever you want. We won't be here for long. Nod your head, shake your head. I did that the opposite. Couldn't do that if I tried. And then you're going to step forward. So you're just going to come kind of halfway up. I'm going to step just in front of my knee padding. I'm going to have my feet hip distance apart. I'm going to turn my feet in a little bit, and I can have my blocks so that I can have a nice hamstring stretch here, being up a bit higher, legs straighter. Or I can fold my spine a little bit, maybe soften the knees. I can have the hands on lower blocks or on the floor, or even take hold of my elbows. So find what feels good. Take a breath. Keep some of the weight on the heels. Now keep the weight on the heels. You're going to lift your chest. You might be on your blocks, lifting your chest. Press into the feet, come up, and reach the backs of the hands back. Just opening through the chest. Inhale deeply. And as you exhale, soften the knees and come back to your blocks. Start up high and move yourself as low as you feel like moving. Very nice. Now plant your hands onto the floor, fingertips maybe, and take the left foot back. Drop the left knee to the floor, and you can scoot that right foot forward a little bit. And you can have the toes tucked under or the foot flat, whatever you want. And you can come up onto the high blocks. And if you have the blocks near towards your hips, you can lift up and kind of stretch into the front of the belly on the left side. You can feel the front of the left leg opening. You're welcome to stay low. You're welcome to come up. You're welcome to bring your hands onto your thigh, into prayer, or even take your hands up to the sky. Then bring the hands down if they weren't there already. And you can use the blocks the whole way through. You're going to come to cat and cow. So moving the hips back, then taking that right knee back. So either hands on the floor or hands in on your blocks. Cat and cow. And then you'll step forward. So we're going to come to down dog. Tuck the toes under. If you're on blocks, make sure you're pressing them down, pressing them forward. And then just stepping left foot, then right foot, halfway up your mat. You can come to your high forward bend or your low soft knees forward bend. And then lifting the chest, pressing down on the heels, come up, inhale, and we'll come down again. Exhale, come down, soften the knees, find your blocks. You can have a half lift here with everything straight, legs and spine, and then you can have an exhale lower. And then you can take your right foot back, drop your knee down, and you can scoot your left foot forward as far as feels comfortable. You can stay here, you can come up on your blocks, draw the shoulders up, back and down. You can have your toes tucked, you can have your foot flat, you can come any way you want. Feeling that lower abdomen on the right side starting to open, the hips starting to open. And then we'll come down, hands on the floor or hands on blocks. Take the hips back, take the knee back, cat and cow. Inhale as you cow, exhale as you cat. Inhale as you cow, then tucking the toes under and exhaling down dog. Very nice. Inhale, step the right foot forward, and exhale, step the left foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Lift the chest, press down on the heels. Inhale, come up, stretch back. And exhale, soften the knees and come down. Very nice. Ooh, so just hang here, hands wherever. And we're going to use the blocks on their kind of medium setting. So they're kind of like under my hands. If you haven't got blocks, then you'll have the hands on the floor or maybe a chair in front of you. So from here, I'm going to press the blocks into the floor and they're going to stay where they are now. I'm going to step my right foot back. This time I'm not going to drop the knee to the floor. I'm going to keep the knee up. I'm going to keep the heel up. I'm going to bend the left knee and press the heel right underneath my left knee. And I'm going to press my left foot into the floor and see if I can come up, slow motion, pressing that foot down to come up, coming up wherever I can, maybe here, maybe here. And if I've taken my arms up, I can take hold of my right wrist with my left hand, reach it up to the sky, drop my left ear into my left upper arm, and reach that right hand over to the left. And then reach up, bring the hands down. Now here you can drop to your knees and do cat and cow, or you can come to a plank on the blocks. If you want to, you can go from plank to down dog, or you can bend your elbows, push your hips forward, lift your chest, come to the tops of your feet, roll your shoulders back and down, press your blocks down, draw your throat back into an up dog. And then lift your lower abdomen in, press on the blocks, come up into down dog. If you're in cat and cow, you're in down dog now. Right foot forward, inhale. Left foot forward, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Weight onto the heels, lift the chest, inhale, come up. We're going to do that on the other side. Exhale, come down, nice and gently. Inhale, left foot steps back. And we're going to keep the heel up, keep the knee up. Make sure the right heel is under the right knee. Press the right foot into the floor. Do it slowly so that you can feel at every stage what you need to do to get stability. So I've got space between my feet so they're not on a tightrope. They're hip distance apart, it's just one's back. And if you've made it up here, you may want to do that nice stretch. Hands up, take hold of the left wrist with the right hand, reach up, take the right ear onto the right upper arm and reach over to the right. It's getting hot in here. reach up, press the right foot into the floor, keep pressing it down, keep pressing that right foot down. That's your anchor. Come down, take the blocks, do cat and cow if you want to, or plank and then dog, or plank, chaturanga. I mean, I never do chaturanga, but with blocks it's actually quite pleasant experience. And then down dog. And then to finish, we step the left foot forward, inhale, right foot forward, exhale, and we can fold here. You can keep the hold of the blocks if it's not safe to fold. And then finally, pressing the heels down, lift the chest and inhale. Take the arms up, and now feel at the end of all that how free it is to reach your hands back. Very nice. Take some breaths. Very nice. Okay, that's quite enough of that in this heat. Let's come down onto our backs and just start to roll down. We're going to, what we're going to do now is do some nice rolling for the lower back and the glutes. So you're going to get your balls again, and you may want a blanket handy, and I'll tell you for why in a minute. Roll down onto your back and just lie and catch your breath. So my feet are hip distance apart, they are feet flat. And I'm going to think about the arch in my lower back. And so the kind of biggest place of the arch is kind of behind your belly button. So that's where I'm going to put the balls. I'm going to put the balls close towards each other. Now, like with the others, if it's too intense, you may want a blanket over the balls to kind of lessen the hardness. Or what you might do, and I'll show you, you lift up the hips, you place them in, and you let the balls touch because there'll still be room for your spine. You drop the hips back down. So it might be that you actually just need a blanket under your buttocks so that the fall down over the balls isn't so intense. So we're here, we got the balls together in the highest point of the arch, and you can just set the hips down. If it's too intense, you're not going to be able to relax. If you can't relax, you're actually doing the opposite of what we're trying to do. If you can't relax, then your body will tense up and it will lay down more collagen. What we're trying to do is soften. So if it's too intense, get the blanket or roll. There's a little bit of leeway, like with the rhomboid, the shoulder blades, the lower back, you've got about 5 vertebrae. So, well, you have got 5 vertebrae, probably. So you can roll a little bit around and find a place that is okay to relax. So you want medium pressure, and then you can rock the legs from side to side if you want to, and you'll feel that you're putting more pressure on one of the balls at a time. And then you can take your feet wide and let your inner knees touch, and maybe see if you can just drop your weight onto those balls for a few deep breaths, as if every time you exhale, the body is swallowing up those balls. And then separate the knees, bring the feet back so that they're in front of the buttocks. Lift your hips and just shift the balls open about an inch. So I've just moved them out, and then set your hips down again. So now you might be feeling something, depends. We're on QL now, where, you know, if you know anything about that, you know it's a killer. So we're going to be really gentle. So you might be already feeling a lot. If you want a little bit more, you can cross the left foot over the right knee, and you can drop, you can basically rock the knees from side to side. So I've got my right foot on the floor, and I'm just dropping my knees from side to side. Now I might want to drop the left knee over to the left and just kind of catch it a little bit with my hand. I'm not taking the weight, but I'm just kind of giving it a point of stability there. And that might just kind of mean that I can stay there for a little bit and have a few breaths. Or I might prefer to just keep rocking from side to side. Take some breaths. Wherever you are, come to a still point. Take some breaths. Take that left leg down. Take the right ankle over the left knee and start to rock the knees from side to side. And if you wanted to stay, you could maybe take your right knee in your right hand. Feeling some sensations in there, maybe on one side more than the other. Usually with this one, we are out of balance. So one side is quite tight and one side maybe you don't notice, or maybe both sides are tight, but usually one side is tighter than tight. And again, we're not trying to force, or, you know, it's not like the 80s, no pain, no gain. We've gone beyond that now. We're just chilling out now. It's the new normal. Trying to survive global pandemic, collective trauma. So we're just being really nice to each other now. Nice to our bodies. Coming back, dropping that leg. Now put your feet into the floor, lift your bottom, take the balls out and just have a moment. You can take your feet wide, your inner knees to touch. You might feel you want to wriggle the shoulders as you've kind of made some space there in the lower back. And I think we've got time for one more, which is my fave. And we're going to think of the butt cheeks as great big plates, and we're going to think of dartboard. So we're going to go for the bullseye. So you think of each of the cheeks as your dartboard. You're going to place your balls in the bullseye. And as you place them, nothing much is happening there. Maybe it is for you, depends on what's going on. And you can probably see the ball poking out, but it's kind of right in the bullseye of that cheek. Now what we do now is we do the same thing that we were doing before, and we can take that left ankle up onto the right knee. Just let the left knee drape off to the side a little bit, and you'll be putting a lot of pressure on that kind of glute area, piriformis area. So you might be able to do some fancy rolling around with your pelvis here. Roll around, you might roll, so shifting your pelvis side to side. And you might find a really good spot that you can just sink into. Now what you can do as well, and this is kind of more for the other side, and you know, some of these will hit you, some of them won't. You can lift the right foot off the floor. I find it better just to sink my weight over to the left, and then I really feel it. Okay, come back to center and do the same on the other side. So I've taken my right ankle over my left knee, and I'm going to sink, and I'm going to rock my knees from side to side. That's one option. Or I might be able to kind of do tiny little circles with my pelvis, rolling over that ball. Or I might be able to shift my hips from side to side. Ah, I've got something there. So then wherever you are, you could stop moving for a little bit and just sink. You could always try that other one that we didn't do. Lifting the foot up. Oof. And then bring the feet back, pressing on the feet, lift the hips, release the balls. Spread out the sacrum now. So I'm just kind of like shifting my buttocks from side to side and trying to like really spread the sacrum. Then I can come into my Shavasana. I'm going to stretch the legs out. You're welcome to have a bolster under your knees. You can place a blanket over you. If you're cold, you can have a little neck roll. I'll show you some neck rolls on Wednesday when we do the restorative. And then flattening out the shoulder blades, taking the palms, turning up, and just finding your Shavasana and seeing if you can spend a few moments here. Taking some deep breaths. If you've got time, then just stay here. Even if I pop off this live, you can stay here. Just feeling however you feel, just noticing any sensations in the body. And just letting your weight really drop into the earth, heavy. Open and free. And I hope that you've got time and space, that you can stay here. And I hope that this has made your Sunday a little bit more joyful. And I hope that you can join me on Wednesday at the same time for some very slow flow and restorative. And then onward each Sunday and Wednesday for this summer. We'll do different styles. And we'll just have some practice together in this little community. So stay as long as you can stay, and when you are ready, just make sure you roll onto one side before you come up, just so you can come up really kind of sweetly and gently. Just pressing yourself up when you're ready. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.